At clinics across the state of Arizona, there is a growing sense of urgency and anger in the air.
I didn't go to medical school to go to jail.
If this law goes into effect, we have to legally cease providing all abortions.
For doctors trying to avoid arrest,
All right.
and patients seeking care,
One person left. Hi.
it's now become a race against time again.
It's pretty scary. I don't want any other woman to suffer.
The women who might not have the opportunity to get abortion care in a few weeks, I feel a profound amount of sadness.
I'm angry. This is a fight we need to not give up.
The confusion and chaos kicked off just days ago after the state Supreme Court ruled that an abortion ban from 1864, before Arizona was even an official state, could go into effect.
The law is confusing and vague. It was written 160 years ago.
Arizona is just the latest state to institute a highly restrictive abortion ban, but this particular law is sparking backlash and could signal a turning of the tide.
When the Dobbs decision came down, conservatives and Republicans said they supported laws like this one because it made abortion harder to obtain. But perceptions have changed. Most major Republicans in Arizona are now against this law.
And the timing is key. Arizona has become one of the most crucial swing states, helping tip the 2020 election for President Biden. Both sides are now wondering if this is all a warning sign of voters bucking abortion bans come November.
Please, can we help you keep your baby in any way, shape, or form?
We saw some boyfriend walk up and was arguing with the protesters as he's walking.
Since the court decision, Dr. Gabrielle Goodrick hasn't taken a day off.
How you guys doing?
She owns Camelback Family Planning in Phoenix, the state's busiest abortion provider.
Abortion care is not going to go away no matter what the laws are or the restrictions. Half of all pregnancies are unplanned, and half of those pregnancies end in an abortion.
In the nearly 2 years since Roe v. Wade was overturned, uncertainty and confusion have almost become the norm in Arizona. Clinics like Goodrick's have periodically had to halt services. The state went from allowing abortions at 24 weeks to 15 weeks, and soon, not at all.
The law that they want to enforce was written by one single white man in 1864. During the Civil War, many of those laws would make our stomach curl. The age of consent is the age of 10. A person of color can't testify against a white man. Women had no vote. Slavery was legal.
So far, no one can say exactly when the ban will go into effect. Is it 2 weeks? Is it 45 days? 60 days? No one knows.
What we're hearing from patients is fear, calling, when is this effective? Oh my gosh, can I get the care that I need? I mean, one patient called, she didn't even have a positive pregnancy test yet, but her period was late and she was panicking. What if it's positive? Where am I going to go? What's going to happen? This is causing a lot of chaos, and not only for staff, but obviously for patients.
It would be financially irresponsible to have a child right now for us.
At Dr. Goodrick's clinic, we met a young woman who asked us to call her Penelope. She just moved from Indiana, a state with an abortion ban.
The law being from 1864, it's hard to really articulate how I feel about that. The fact that the law is so old, it proves to me just how archaic our government can be sometimes.
So do you have any questions about when you go home?
We also met Amaretta, a single mom of one. She doesn't feel like she can put her body through another pregnancy.
For me to carry another baby would be a lot of wear and tear on my body, and I want to raise a daughter that I have now.
She told us if this happened after the ban, she would not have the money to travel out of state.
Getting transportation, time off work, childcare, gas money, a car that works. I mean, it's hard.
With so many states restricting or outright banning abortion, especially across the South, abortion-providing states are hard to find. Arizona was one of them.
We've gotten patients from Texas. We've gotten patients from the Deep South, from states like Idaho and Ohio.
Just a few miles away, Dr. Deshawn Taylor is also working nonstop. She's a board-certified OBGYN and the sole owner and CEO of the Desert Star Institute for Family Planning. Do bans like this one really stop abortions from happening?
Bans don't stop abortions. My biggest concern is the criminalization piece.
Dr. Taylor's clinic is smaller, but no less important, especially since she's one of the few black providers in the state. Despite her convictions, she says she has to abide by the laws. She can't risk going to prison.
I feel that I just want to be real about my intention to stay free. Black women physicians are 2% of the physician workforce here in the United States. So my existence matters. They come here because I'm here, and I don't take that for granted.
Arizona's Democratic Attorney General Chris Mays says she won't enforce the 1864 law, but she acknowledges she can't stop local prosecutors from doing so.
I would urge Arizonans who are pregnant to make a plan. And I can't believe I'm having to say that. Start thinking about California and Nevada and New Mexico or Colorado.
Dr. Taylor is focused on keeping her doors open, even if the ban goes into effect.
At this point, the goal is to provide abortion care until we can't legally do it anymore.
Are you now preparing that reality might be sooner than you think?
We are prepared for that reality. And then I think about the staff. You know, they could work anywhere, but they choose to work here.
If the clinic can't provide abortions, that means women like this 23-year-old would have no place to go. She showed up relieved that she made it before the ban goes into effect. She asked us not to show her face. Were you confused when you saw the news that the Supreme Court is allowing this abortion ban to go into effect?
I thought, what's going to happen when I come into my appointment? Then we're just going to be told, no, we can't do it anymore, unfortunately. And I thought, what's going to happen now?
You are here now and you have access to abortion care, but you would not have access to that in a couple of weeks when this law goes into effect. What do you make of that?
It's scary. I feel like the child would just suffer if it came into this life because of the economy right now, I'm not financially good enough to even take care of a child, and I can barely take care of myself at this point.
Unlike in previous years, when the issue of abortion was more likely to draw conservatives to the polls, since the fall of Roe, it has been driving Democrats to vote more than Republicans.
Virtually every single poll across any jurisdiction in the United States comes back with a similar result. Most people think that abortion should be available at least some, if not most of the time. That's true in very red states like Montana and Kentucky, very blue states like Vermont.
Doctors like Taylor and Goodrick are worried that state bans like Arizona's are just paving the way for a larger national play.
Ultimately, the plan is for a national abortion ban. Real people lives are impacted by these policies.
Former President Donald Trump, who appointed 3 of the 5 Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe, had at one time supported a federal ban on abortion. He's now backtracking on that promise. Why should Americans trust your word that you would not do it now if you were reelected?
Because we don't need it any longer, because we broke Roe v. Wade, and we did something that nobody thought was possible. We gave it back to the states, and it's working the way it's supposed to.
That is an outright flip-flop with this Arizona decision. He's had to come out further and say that he actually doesn't think this Arizona law should stand, that it should be repealed and revised.
Donald Trump just said the collection of state bans is, quote, working the way it is supposed to.
Democrats appear to be banking on the backlash to drive voters all across the country.
This is 2024, not the 1800s, and we're not going back.
The Arizona state legislature was expected to swiftly repeal the law. Even Carrie Lake, a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, recognizing this could be a lightning rod for voters.
What's really coming in harm's way is this initiative on the ballot. So I think our lawmakers need to do something quickly.
But at the last minute, Republicans blocked that effort. Democrats say they will try to repeal the law again this week, but it could be voters who have the final say. An initiative to protect abortion rights is expected to be on the ballot here in November.
This ballot initiative is going to be successful here because the people of Arizona want people that can get pregnant to have bodily autonomy and get the government out of the doctor-patient relationship.
I will be going through the steps to register to vote in Arizona, and it absolutely will impact how I vote.
Abortion rights has won in all 6 states where it has appeared on the ballot so far. Does that give you hope?
I do have hope, but honestly, ballot initiative is not a solution. It's not a 50-state solution.